to Kansas City, though, because they play 3 days earlier. So the urgency is even greater for the Chiefs to get Chris Jones under contract. He's been holding out just like Bosa. Unlike Bosa, Jones has gotten a second contract, but he's not happy with it. He's making $20 million a year. He's due to make a salary of $19.5 this year. The market has changed. The best defensive player in football, in Aaron Donald, is making $31.667. Here's Brett Veach, GM of the Chiefs, when asked this question: do you expect Chris Jones to be back before the Week 1 game next Thursday night against the Detroit Lions?
Certainly hopeful for that. We have been in communication, and actually just the last 2 days, we've been in more communication. So we're going to continue to press on and work hard, and a lot of respect on both sides of this thing. And it's been obviously well stated how we feel about Chris, and he feels the same way. So again, we're just going to keep working on this thing. And, we're looking forward to next Thursday, and hopefully he's in the lineup and he's ready to go.
When you say communication, just want to clarify, do you mean progression towards a deal or progression towards just getting him to back in Kansas City without a deal? And do you foresee him potentially returning absent a deal?
We've been in communications, and I think, I like to keep all of those communications, between us and them, just out of respect for the whole process. And, in the hopes that we can continue to work to get something done.
I wonder what that giant orange thing was in the foreground. He's got a Gatorade bottle right next to his camera. I finally figured that out. It's this big, giant orange thing. And the question, and look, these questions are all happening in real time. And, if they're communicating about a contract. This isn't Brett Veach calling up the agent saying, would he consider coming back without a contract? Do you think there's a way we could get him to come back? I've got Gatorade. Here it is, right here by my camera. That's not going to happen. That's not why they're communicating. They're communicating, Chris, because they're working toward a deal. The clock is striking 12.
Yeah.
Contrast that with last week when Andy Reid saying there's been no communication. Remember that back when Chris Jones went to social media and said, I'm holding out until week 8.
Right.
And Reid says there's been no communication. And we said, if you recall, there will be communication as the clock strikes 12. So this is encouraging. What Brett Veach said yesterday is encouraging. It's happening the way it should. And let's get this guy signed and back before the first practice in advance of next Thursday's game, which would be...
It's like right now.
Sunday?
Yeah. Well,
Is it
in
Sunday
a weird
or
week,
Saturday?
Yeah,
It's here.
It's here. They probably, I would think, yesterday, today, you're starting to get real practices. They might get an easy day tomorrow, whatever, because they got some extra days to play with here. But, yeah, I would think it's getting real. I would think conversations are getting real a little bit because of the point you're saying, because coaches in Kansas City are watching film, getting ready for this, and going, holy crapola, Batman. The damn Lions offensive line opens up holes against everybody. Whoa, it'd be nice if we had Chris Jones here. So, yeah, stuff's getting real in a hurry there in that department. They're not necessarily robust or deep at the defensive tackle position that we've discussed, right? Now, they got a lot of good on their D-line, but we've talked about it. He's probably the only superstar, let me change the game plan a little bit type of guy to make sure we block him. Charles Omenihu, right, their free agent signing from the 49ers, he's not playing in week 1 because he's on the reserve suspended list. So they just traded for Neil Farrell because why? They're worried they don't have enough big people. A defensive tackle, they got him 300-plus pounds because they're worried about this. So, I'm worried about it. And it could end up making Thursday night's game a lot of fun because we could end up seeing a shootout where it's back and forth. But big picture is Kansas City doesn't want to live too long like that. They need Chris Jones back.
Yeah, there's a certain point where you just got to get this done. And we're getting toward that point if he's going to be available on week 1. And at some point, he's got to come back and get himself into shape and get himself in midseason form. The other players who have been there are ahead of the curve. He'll get there whenever he shows up. And who knows? Maybe this will linger. I'm encouraged, though. I'm more encouraged by the Chiefs situation than the 49ers situation.
Are you? Okay.
I feel like,
okay.
Yeah, just because, even though it's a 3-day shorter fuse, with Veach saying there's communication, it just tells me they're working toward it and they're going to get something done. And Chris Jones, I feel like it's moving the way it should. The way Kyle explained it, He just seems kind of discombobulated and dismayed by the situation. He's surprised that it is where it is, and it could be that the 49ers, who thought this thing would get resolved, are surprised by how strong of a stand Nick Bosa is taking, and they have to ask themselves, do we want to set a precedent here that could be used against us with some of our other great players in the future if we cave into Nick Bosa and give him the structure he's looking for on guarantees, the cash flow he's looking for, the dollars he's looking for? That's one of the big concerns for teams. If they cross a certain bridge with a certain player, they're going to get dragged across that bridge with everybody else who's due for a contract. So they hold firm with one guy to make it easier to negotiate with the rest of them. Instead of just saying, as some teams will do, when, a player would say, or his agent would say, well, you did that for Nick Bosa, the response is, start playing like Nick Bosa.
Exactly.
We'll do it for you.
Exactly. That's where I don't think teams play that card enough. They're a little too nice, right? The guys in the locker room know. Don't let the agents always talk into that. So the guys in the locker room know Nick Bosa's worth more than the majority of those guys there, and how important he is to the football team and how good he is even in the scope of the whole league. But yeah, you're exactly right. I think there is that. The teams get a little scared of that, but I think there is the reality of a lot of players are realistic in knowing that, hey, yeah, I knew when I was on, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or anything like that, hey, yes, Derek Brooks or whatever, he might get stipulations in his contract that I won't, because he's freaking Derek Brooks and he's a Hall of Famer. And, teams probably need to play that card a little bit more.
But for the agents, it's all data points and benchmarks.
That's right.
And
that's right.
The numbers keep going up, and it doesn't matter who got the contract, but it should matter who got the contract. When the guy's really, 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 really good, it's not just, well, I'm leapfrogging him because I'm up next. It's a dynamic that went on with quarterbacks for a while, and it's kind of come back. I'm the next guy who's due to get a contract, so I'm going to make a little bit more than the last guy who got a contract, even if that guy's better than me. That's the problem, but that's what the teams try to avoid. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.